the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Let's get started. We'll go with Omar first in Hollister, California. Good morning, Omar. You're up early this morning.
Good morning, Patrick. Yes, sir. Up and early.
The early bird gets the worm, as they say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I was calling Patrick. I was thinking of the phone call last week from, I believe the young girl's name was Tiva.
Yes, Kiva. Lovely young lady.
And yes.
She's going to Christendom College.
It really resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it really resonated with me. So my wife and I, we have 2 young children, hoping to have more, God willing. But nobody in our family practices the faith, and so I was looking for any fatherly advice that you'd be willing to share of things that we could do to keep our family the faith first, and because sometimes it feels a little lonely because, as I mentioned, nobody really goes to church anymore, and it seems like we're the only ones out there doing it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I remember times when I felt that way as a young dad. Now, thankfully, Nancy and I had the benefit of a goodly number of family members, extended family who were supportive. But in your situation, I could imagine even more so how it could be discouraging for you at times, and everybody around you has faded away from the faith. Now, you were raised Catholic, I assume, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, and my father still goes to church, but it's not really I don't think it yeah, he goes to church. My mom doesn't go to church anymore. And it just none of my siblings do. On my wife's side, the same thing.
Yeah. I can imagine it's got to be tough. So you're a light unto the nations now, and you and your wife are you might say, the icon of the domestic church to your family, who no longer goes to church, but they can see in you collectively, a beacon of what we would like them to come home to. So a few things. I mean, I'll try to just offer some ideas that seem to work well for us, and I know they work well for other people. And these are, of course, nothing new. They're the things that the great saints tell us and are lead from Jesus in the Bible, where he says, for example, you are the light of the world. Nobody lights a lamp and then hides it under a bushel basket, but it is set on a stand so it can give light to everybody in the house. And you are that light. You and your wife and your children, even though there are only 4 of you right now. Think about think about a pitch black room, totally without any light whatsoever. And if you light a candle, however small, suddenly now, what happens? The darkness gets pushed back. And the light now illuminates things that are there, but people can't see them. So that would be maybe my first bit of advice, would be to pray about that teaching of Jesus about you and your wife and your children being the light to your family. And light attracts people because nobody likes to be in the dark. And people want to, they gravitate toward the light, in other words. And that may be the effect that will happen in time with your family. So things like your openness to life, not being on contraception. And you're not. Obviously, you said you and your wife are hoping to have more children. I hope that he blesses you with many more children. That in itself is going to be a kind of light to them. And if they're suffering from the wounds of the culture and the secularism that abounds in our day and age, they're likely looking at children as something maybe more of a burden, or at best maybe a tax write-off after you have your first couple of kids, and that's it. Why would you have more than that? And then you'll be a sign of contradiction to them, where you're faithfully, lovingly, willingly, happily, cheerfully accepting blessings from God in the form of children, if he chooses to bless you that way, and I hope he will. That's a powerful message. And it might irk some of them, and you might get some pushback from some of them. We certainly did. We got some pushback from some relatives who did not like the fact that Pat and Nancy were popping out kids, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you have 2. That's great, a boy and a girl. 3, okay, all right, whatever. 4, what's going on here? And certainly by the time you get to number 5, they think we're certifiably crazy at that point. But you know what happened is, over time, all those, and it wasn't that many of them, but the relatives who were very quote unquote scandalized and irked and irritated that we were having children like that. They all came around eventually in the end. So that'd be one bit of advice. I would say fill your home with the images of Jesus and Mary. Have a crucifix in your home prominently, certainly where your kids and you and your wife see it. Have images of the Sacred Heart and the Immaculate Heart enthroned, maybe in your living room, so that when people enter your home, they know right away that you're followers of Jesus and that you love Jesus and Mary. They know you're Catholic. No ambiguity. And your kids grow up with that, and they see this. Another suggestion would be pray the family rosary and make it part of your daily life. And sometimes it's not possible just because of the busyness of your schedules. But if you and your wife are praying the rosary, when you can't pray as a family, if you're praying the rosary every day on your own, but whenever you can pray it together with the kids, that is a powerful glue that will bind your kids to Jesus and Mary, so that when they get older, even if they're wayward, as many of us were, they'll still come back. Make sure you go to Mass, receive the sacraments, let your kids see you and your wife go to confession. Obviously, they don't go in with you, but, I mean, when they're little maybe. But let them know that you and your wife practice the faith seriously, and you take it seriously, and you love Jesus, and it's not just an hour a week on Sunday, but that your Catholic faith imbues your entire reality in your home, in your work, in your recreation, the kind of movies you watch, the kind of music you listen to, the language that you use around the kids at home. I mean, all these things, and they're probably all just like no-brainers, but they really do work. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing fancy-dancy, really. It's the meat and potatoes, the basic, doing the basic things that are so important. What do you think? I'm just throwing out some ideas based on my own experience. What do you think, Omar?
Yeah, that sounds really great. Yeah, I think we are already contradicting sign, because we're homeschooling our children as well, and so I think I agree with you. It seems like it's not that hard, It just it gets lonely sometimes, and so in my head I'm like, oh man, as a father, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing enough? And so I think I overthink things sometimes,
Well, it's not a bad thing to overthink them, because let's face it, there are a lot of people who underthink these things, or they don't think about them at all, or they only think about them when it's too late to do anything because their kids are already grown up. So you're doing the right thing. I don't think you can overthink this, really. If by that what you mean is that you're conscious all the time of your duties as a husband and a father, and you're asking God all the time, Lord, I really don't know what to do in this situation. Please show me. I mean, that's a beautiful way to go through life. And you're not wasting a molecule of energy, because all of it is going to the most important things in your life, your wife and your children. Everything else, I mean, obviously God is first, wife and children after that, and then after that is everything else. So I would say don't worry about overthinking it. And if you feel discouraged, give me a call. I'm always here. I'll be here practically 24/7. And you can always run stuff by me. I would get a book by Steve Wood. It's called Legacy. His website is dads.org. And he's kind of in retirement mode now. But Steve, for many years, was at the forefront of helping to mentor men to be good fathers and husbands. And he's written quite a bit. And that book in particular is quite good. It's called Legacy. And I would read that. It'll give you some really good practical pointers on how to raise godly children, especially sons, and how to tap into the masculine mindset, because boys are not the same as girls, as I'm sure you already know by now. And I'm not talking, physiologically. I just mean the psychology of boys is very different from the psychology of girls. And you as dad have a powerful, profound influence on both your sons and your daughters as dad. Not that your wife doesn't, but the dad has a particular kind of influence over both the boys and the girls. And that book will give you some insights on things you can do to deepen that. But I would just say stay the course. You're a young patriarch. You're at the beginning of this lifelong adventure. And as long as you're open to the Lord's will and you're seeking it, even if some things along the way are difficult, money will be tight, maybe, whatever. I went through all that. But in the end, you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, it went by so fast. And you won't have regrets that some people do have, because they look back later and they say, oh, why didn't I teach my children how to pray? How come I didn't bring them to confession on Saturday? How come we didn't do things that were more Catholic? And, God bless them. They look back and they want to do something, but now's the time for you. So grab it and don't let go of it.
Keep going.
Yeah.
That's right. That's another way to put it.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think, like, sometimes I wonder, is it, I sometimes don't, some family members don't live the lifestyle that we're trying to live, and I wonder if it harms my children and my daughters to be around them a lot, or I don't want to isolate them from the family either.
That's
but
true.
I don't want to.
But you also have to be judicious. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No,
you want to protect your kids, but you don't want to, cause tension in the family, right?
Right. And I feel like we have caused tension in some areas, but God is first, and we're trying to be all in with this.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know what the particulars are, and I don't need to know, obviously, but if you feel as though this iceberg of a family member is likely to gash a hole in the ship of your kid's innocence, then I would steer far away from that iceberg. If there's something scandalous and you don't want to have to explain to your 7-year-olds something that 7-year-olds don't need to know about, I would steer clear of it. And if people get uptight about it, all right, whatever. It's not because I don't love you, but I love my children and I want to protect their innocence.
Okay.
You can only do that for so long, because in due time, life just takes its course and innocence gets gradually or quickly stripped away. So the longer you can protect them in their innocence, the better for them. It's like, it gets down to things like, what do you allow to be on your television? What kind of music do you let your kids listen to? What kind of speech? Are there 4-letter words? Is there foul speech in your home? I'm guessing probably not in your case. But that's a real corrosive effect on children if they hear mom and dad dropping F-bombs and using God's name in vain, and even just coarse, vulgar language when they're not in public and people aren't watching them. You can tell a lot about somebody's inner self, even just on the basis of how crude their language is. So if your kids grow up in a home where there is no profanity, there is no blasphemy, and you're showing by example what it means to really want to live a life for Jesus, they're going to pick up on that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
One other important idea. I have one other. Text the word Patrick to 914-914 so that you can download the Patrick Madrid Show album. It's called Keep Going. And then I would say on a daily basis, indoctrinate your kids with those songs. Play all 14 tracks for them every single day for the rest of their lives. And good things will happen. Don't you think, Cyrus? Don't you think good things will happen if a parent did that?
Fact. Keep going.
Right. Text Patrick to 914-914.
That's almost ingenious right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate your advice, and I'll keep going.
God bless you, young patriarch. I'm sure we're going to have great things coming from you and your family. God bless you both. Keep going.
Keep going.
All right. How about a break? And then we'll keep going. Let's do that. My number is 888-914-9149. I expect big things from Omar in Hollister, California, Cyrus. I expect big things.
Fact.
Yes. Be right back.
That was the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the Best of the Week is on the Relevant Radio app. Free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.